Now, Q4 2022 XRP markets report. Folks, it was an absolutely massive quarter. Q4 2022, absolutely massive. Notable takeaways. On-demand liquidity, Ripple's crypto-enabled cross-border payment solution launched in France, Sweden, and Africa, and is now available in nearly 40 payout markets. Remember, folks, when you go live in France, when you go live in Sweden, that basically essentially means that you got the green light in the Eurozone. France and Sweden, both part of the Euro, right? So you basically got the go-ahead there. That means you got the go live, you got the green light. You can flip the switch in all of Europe now, essentially. And Africa, major. Now available in nearly 40 payout markets. Total XRP sales by Ripple net of purchases were 226 million versus 310 million the previous quarter. I'll dive into those numbers here in a sec. And we had Pierced release the first phase of the Ethereum virtual machine sidechain for the XRP Ledger on DevNet, which allows DeFi applications in like Uniswap, Aave, and Compound to easily launch on the XRP Ledger. So they are working on the Ethereum virtual machine right now as we speak. Okay, Q4 markets report. I'm not going to talk about that. They mentioned how 12 billion flowed out of Binance. Big shifts, big things happening here in the cryptocurrency space. And they say right here, by the end of Q4 2022, XRP spot markets experienced a general downtrend by way of average daily volumes, currently at roughly 700 million, down from 1.1 billion in Q1 of 2022. This is consistent with crypto more broadly, where in the derivatives market, open interest for Bitcoin was down 15% from Q3 2022 and 30% from Q4 2021, while open market interest for Ethereum was surprisingly more resilient, down less than 10% from Q3 2022 and 25% from Q4 2022. So we have less derivatives trading, less speculation on both Bitcoin and Ethereum. No single centralized exchange has benefited from this flight to self-custody, which underscores just how uncertain the landscape has become. While there were some decentralized exchanges that have capitalized on this migration, volumes still remained far below their bull market highs, down 50%, and that's a source of Dune Analytics. While the market will likely remain fragmented, the industry will see investment activity with a focus on improving core crypto primitives such as payments, custodial services, DEXs, and cross-chain user experiences. Okay, global regulation. So they talk about FTX. They talk about a settlement here. Coinbase settled a case with the New York Department of Financial Services and agreed to pay a $50 million fine and invest another $50 million in its compliant efforts. So we have a Coinbase settlement. We have the SEC charged Genesis and Gemini with allegedly selling unregistered securities. So yeah, lots underway. But in the EU, the final vote for the Markets in Crypto Assets bill was postponed to April 2023, and Coinbase was granted approval by the Central Bank of Ireland to operate as a virtual asset service provider in Ireland. Okay, Brazil President Jair Bolsonaro signed into laws the country's first crypto regulatory regulatory framework, and Hong Kong reaffirmed its pro-crypto stance as it aims to become a crypto hub. Ripple released its UK policy white paper outlining its regulatory ambitions to propel the UK toward global crypto hub status by driving consumer protections, assessing crypto assets according to different risk profiles, and ultimately growing the industry in the UK. In 2023, stablecoin regulation will likely be top priority, and in the US, Ripple expects major bills from last term to be reintroduced. That would be the RFIA and the DCEA as Congress seeks to impose tighter controls in the wake of FTX demise. Update on the SEC lawsuit against Ripple. On December 2nd, Ripple's reply brief in support of its motion for summary judgment, where the company asked the court to grant judgment in the company's favor, was made public. After 2 years of fighting this lawsuit on behalf of the entire crypto industry and American innovation, the case is fully briefed, and Ripple is proud of its defense and feels more confident than ever as it awaits the judge's decision. Decision timing is in the judge's hands, but the company is hoping to see a ruling in 2023. Some say by June. Jeremy Hogan says next 45 days. Let's watch that now. This is XRPL on-chain activity, okay? So what we can see here is that we had less on-chain activity, right? The bear market kicking in, less transactions. We had 106,000 Q4 2022 compared to 130 million transactions in Q4 of 2021. So we have less transactions, but we did get growth, a little bit more growth than Q3, okay? XRP burned for transactions. Only 101,000 XRP was burned in Q4 compared to 365,000 in Q4. So those are important numbers to highlight, guys. Remember, there's over 10 million XRP that's already been burned total. 365,000 in a quarter. That's about 100,000 a month that took place there in Q4 of 2021. But this last quarter, we only had 100,000 burned, okay? And the average cost per transaction was definitely cheap, 0.00096. Average cost per transaction in XRP compared to 0.0028 in Q4 of 2021. Okay. And yeah, the average closing price was 42 cents. That's up slightly from 36 cents in Q3. And we were at $1 last year, Q4 2021. Now, the volume on DEX, we were at 85 million last quarter. Okay. And we had 8.7 million trust lines. Okay. So we have even more trust lines, and the number of new wallets, though, this stat right here is fascinating, folks. This tells you where this thing's going. The number of new wallets, 228,000, nearly double, nearly double the amount of wallets that we had in Q3. And you can see, though, nowhere near what we had a year ago, 624,000 new wallets created in Q4 of 2021. But that was during the peak of the bull run, right? But it is fascinating to see that from Q3 to Q4, we had over 100 million more wallets created, 228 million new wallets. Now you times that by 10, and that's more XRP that's taken out of the circulating supply, essentially, right? Unless those wallets are being used for liquidity, unless they're being used for some sort of liquidity transactions or some sort of pool, right? That's, you times that by 10 and you got that amount of XRP. What would that be? 2 million XRP that's getting held up just as minimum in those wallets, right? So interesting that we saw that growth in the number of new wallets. Definitely, I think a lot of people getting into XRP as we anticipate the end of this lawsuit, this conclusion. So let's get it. Despite a broader market slowdown, on-chain activity on the XRPL stayed relatively buoyant. As trading volumes across the broader market slowed, the number of transactions on the ledger increased by over 3 million, spurred primarily by NFT activity once the XLS20 amendment passed on November 2nd, 2022. Although the number of transactions increased, XRP burn due to transaction fees declined 33%, and the average cost of a transaction in USD remained virtually zero. During that same time period, the average transaction fee on the Ethereum network was $2.75, and on the Bitcoin network, it was $1.23. So on the XRPL, you're at 0. On Ethereum, you're at $2.75. Bitcoin, you're at $1.23. How's your program working out? XRPL interoperability in Q4. This was massive, guys. Pierced announced the release of the first phase of the Ethereum virtual machine sidechain for the XRPL on DevNet. This milestone means more developers can easily access the XRP Ledger's feature set such as speed, sustainability, and low-cost transactions while being able to code Solidity-based smart contracts. Additionally, this opens up the door for successful DeFi applications like Uniswap, Aave, and Compound to easily launch on the XRPL. More utility on the way. Do you have enough XRP, folks? Global growth of on-demand liquidity reaches record highs. As we've been talking about, you know the deal. Ripple remains one of the few crypto firms well capitalized and ready to meet robust customer demand in 2023 head on by continuing to hire strategically, invest in attractive opportunities, and build a platform that can allow traditional institutions to access crypto innovation on the XRPL in a safe and secure fashion. Bring on all the money, or at least some of it. You guys know the deal. Ripple wrapped up 2022 with its strongest year to date, focusing on crypto utility and scaling its ODL product. As RippleNet continues to grow despite a tumultuous market, Ripple experienced the highest amount of demand from both new and existing customers adopting ODL. Today, Ripple's crypto-powered payment solution is available in nearly 40 payout markets, up from just 3 in 2020. How about that for growth, folks? From 3 markets in 2020 to nearly 40 payout markets. Flip the switch. You got the green light. Start sending it and getting the money sent without having to pay $3 on Ethereum, $1.23 on Bitcoin, or wait 3 days or a week for the transaction to go through with the Swift traditional banking system. Okay. Now, this is where it gets massive. Last quarter, ODL was launched in France, Sweden, in partnership with payments provider Lehmanway and Xbot, respectively, and in Africa via MFS Africa, a leading payments gateway in the region. Additionally, Ripple expanded its customer base to corporates that are looking to experience the benefits of crypto-enabled cross-border payments for their business. And what did they say out of Ripple Swell Conference? Bank of America looking to use XRP for a quote-unquote competitive advantage after the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit concludes. Ripple has processed nearly 30 billion worth of volume and 20 million transactions since RippleNet was first launched in 2022 approximately. So guys, all of last year, this is so key, guys. Do not listen to the FUD out there, the talking heads from Twitter and TikTok. They aren't reading off these numbers for you guys. They aren't just simply going and reading what Ripple's been telling us. This is massive growth, guys. 30 billion worth of volume, which is more than the Chinese digital yuan in the tech race, the reserve currency, digital reserve currency race that we're in. 30 billion worth of volume here, a little bit more than that digital yuan, and 20 million transactions since RippleNet was first launched. But last year, approximately 60% of those payments were sent through ODL settling on the XRP Ledger using XRP. This is massive. This is flipping the switch. This is not just Ripple customers and partners that are using RippleNet. No, this is XRP settlement. Flip the switch. Disciplined, responsible stakeholders, Q4 sales and purchases. Now, this is what I love to get into, folks, right here. This is what I love to get into. This is reserve currency status. Ripple operating as the treasury of the XRP supply, and they are getting it done. Last quarter, total XRP sales by Ripple net of purchases were 226.31 million versus 310 million in the previous quarter. Ripple has continued to sell XRP only in connection with ODL transactions. As we continue to say, guys, they are not getting the XRP to the exchanges. If some of these ODL partners decide to give up some of their XRP, then yeah, technically speaking, I guess, hypothetically, some XRP could get into the hands of these exchanges, right? But what we see here is that Ripple is only selling XRP only in connection with ODL transactions. Now, let's get into these numbers. This is what we love to see, guys. This is what we love to see. This is demand for XRP. Their ODL partners are begging for XRP. So the total purchases in Q3 was 2.5 billion. 2.5 billion worth of dollars, 2.5 billion fiat US dollars spent on XRP so that they could turn around and sell 2.8 billion. Okay. Then in Q4, what did they do? They ramped it up even more, purchasing 2.7 billion. They spent even more, another 200 million spent on acquiring XRP so that they could sell nearly 100 million more than they did in Q3. 2,964 million. That's 2.964 billion. That is nearly $3 billion worth of XRP sold to their on-demand liquidity partners, and that's net sales of 226 million. Now, global XRP volume was down 700 million compared to basically almost 800 million in Q3, and total XRP volume was at dollars and billions was at 64 billion compared to 72 billion. Okay, so what we have here is what we see here is a clear demand for XRP from their on-demand liquidity partners. Their ability to sell 3 billion worth of XRP, right? And their ability to spend 2.7 billion cash. Who else in the crypto space is throwing down, making investments like that into their own project? But we're not done, folks. We are not done. Remember, all ODL related sales are attributed to the growth and adoption of ODL. Figures were compiled using Ripple has been a buyer of XRP in the secondary market and expects to continue to undertake purchases as ODL continues to gain momentum. Now, remember, guys, when we had Neil join us in the Twitter space, what did he say? Is that Ripple doesn't want to give up the amount of XRP that their on-demand liquidity customers want, so that's why they're going and spending 2.7 billion, making it rain, to give up fiat dollars to trade for XRP so that they can turn around and sell nearly 3 billion in one quarter alone. And I'm going to show you guys the totals of the last year. I'm going to show you guys a little bit more of these numbers here too. We got some more to see, guys. But this is what's confirmed by one of the head lead software developers at Ripple right now that's working on HODL. Neil came up into my Twitter space and he said it's growing like wildfire outside of the United States. And Ripple continues to buy XRP because they don't want to give it. The HODL customers want more than Ripple's willing to give away or sell off, right? So they're willing to go buy $2.7 billion worth of XRP so they can turn around and sell nearly $3 billion worth. It's very simple, guys. And this is what I love about investing in XRP and watching Ripple build utility, build up liquidity on the XRPL, is we can see and watch this growth quarter after quarter. We don't have to listen to the nonsense. We don't have to listen to anybody else. If you just listen to Ripple, this is clear as day. Demand for XRP growing. Now, they also talk about here that they are doing leases. Certain wallets used for XRP sales also provide short-term leases to market makers and participants. This is worth noting given they are often incorrectly interpreted by market participants as sales. Yeah, there's all sorts of FUD confusion being spread by the talking heads, and you guys know that. You guys can see that every single day on Twitter and TikTok. It's absurd. XRP associated with leases are ultimately returned to Ripple. The total amount of leases outstanding in Q4 2022 was 57 million XRP. Okay? This is what we want to get to right here is the escrow. In Q4 2022, 3 billion XRP were released out of escrow, 1 billion each month. You guys know the program. But in line with prior quarters in the official escrow arrangement, in total, 2.1 billion XRP were returned and subsequently put into new escrow contracts throughout the quarter. Folks, what have we been saying? 3 billion's released to them for free. Their cost basis is zero. But instead of dumping, right, or even just selling it off to their on-demand liquidity partners, they returned 2/3 of it back into escrow, back into 55-month time lock escrow. So if you don't believe in the future of XRP, clearly Ripple does. So if you're, these guys that are spreading all this FUD and all this confusion and nonsense, and they're butthurt because their XRP bags are down, and now they're trying to call Brad the bad guy and Ripple's the bad guy, and this and that, right? And just bitching and whining and complaining, right? Go look at what Ripple's doing with the escrow, and it's clear as day what they think the future of XRP holds. Right? They're willing to tie it back up for 55 months, guys. That's over 4 years, right? Almost 4 or 5 years that they're willing to tie back up their XRP, and they're willing to go spend 2.7 billion cash in the middle of a bear market recession when everybody else is going broke and insolvent. Let's spend 2.7 big ones so that we can continue to grow this HODL. And we're going to stuff 2 billion XRP back in escrow, by the way. It's all there for us. Continuing on. For more information on the escrow, you can see there. Okay, that's good. We love to see it. And it confirms everything that we've been saying as far as XRP being a world reserve digital currency. You know, these gatekeepers in the XRP community want to say that XRP will never be a reserve currency. Well, what the hell do you call that? Get your game up. I mean, what is that? Let's get our game up. Now, guys, this is absolutely massive. XLS20 is now enabled on the XRP Ledger. Last quarter, XLS20 went live on the XRP Ledger mainnet. This represents a considerable milestone for developers and builders utilizing the XRPL for their native NFT projects and apps, which can represent assets that are each unique along with operations to enumerate, transfer, and hold such tokens. This is massive. It's so much more than pictures, guys. This is going to be tokenizing everything of value. XRPL-based NFTs were designed with efficiency in mind. Significant transaction expenses are a fundamental problem for developers minting NFTs on other leading layer 1 blockchain solutions. Gas fees can add hundreds of dollars to the final price of an NFT and vary based on a given network's user traffic and congestion. You can't even know, you can't have any sort of expectation when you're using these other networks as far as what the cost is going to be, if it's going to settle today, next week, is the network down, is it up, you know, has a winter storm come through town and the miners are offline, what's the deal? And then we covered the news how, right, like one guy put one NFT on the Bitcoin ledger and it basically congested the whole block. a guy, and I'm not a developer, I'm not a blockchain analysis expert, but my understanding is that one guy put one JPEG, one NFT on the Bitcoin network, and it basically consumed up the whole block. I mean, it didn't shut down the block, it didn't make it like overly congested or break the network, but literally one. And I mean, it's just a joke. It's just a joke. You guys know the deal. But once again, NFTs on XRPL based NFTs were designed with efficiency in mind. And yep, I covered that. NFTs on the XRPL also include automatic royalties, which standardize royalty enforcement as one of the benefits of the ledger's built-in DEX. For creators, NFT transfer fees provide them with a share of their revenue when the NFT is bought and sold. They can also designate a third party who mints and sells the tokens on their behalf. Community projects like XDude, Pixel Ape Rowboat Club, X Tokenize, and XRP Junkies are proof of the excitement and NFT use cases made possible with the XRPL's low transaction cost and high transaction volume. Since going live, more than 800,000 NFTs have been minted, with 410,000 transacted, bringing XRP volume to 12.9 million. So we love to see it. We're about to break through, and maybe we already have 1 million NFTs moved on the XRP Ledger. And just think of how much money was saved in those million transactions that took place on the XRPL versus what could have been taking place on Ethereum or some of these other networks, right? So we just absolutely love to see it. But folks, we are not done. We are not done because there's a few more data points that we got to cover. You got to understand this. Now, this was originally shared by Leonidas. Ripple's Q4 2022 XRP Markets Report is out. Here's the breakdown of all of Ripple's sales and purchases since 2018. Steady growth of ODL-related sales attributed to the growth and adoption of ODL. People want to use XRP. It's very simple, folks. Now, let's take a look here because this is very, very important. I already had showed this once, but I wanted to round off the XRP Q4 2022 Market Report by bringing this up back again. Okay, look over here, folks. This is when it began. Back in Q4 of 2021, $321 million of XRP was bought. $321 million worth of XRP was bought in Q4 of 2021, and that is when they started the purchases, right? That is when they started the purchases of XRP. And where did it go? See, we had a total of $1.5 billion worth of XRP sold in 2021 total. Right? So that would be XRP that they were getting released from the escrow account. 150 in Q1, 157 in Q2, $491 million worth in Q3. So that was all XRP that they either got released from the escrow or that they were already sitting on. And then in Q4, they purchased $321 million worth and sold $717 million worth. Okay? Now, we scroll on down and you can see right here. And actually that was sales net of purchases. They broke $1 billion worth of total sales in Q4, right? So that was when they first broke $1 billion worth of XRP sold in Q4 of 2021. But this is where this gets interesting in 2022, because this is when Ripple started throwing down billions of dollars every quarter to buy XRP. In Q1 of 2022, they purchased $1 billion worth of XRP and they sold $1.3 billion worth. In Q2, they purchased $1.7 billion worth while they sold $2.1 billion worth of XRP. In Q3, they step up to the table and they throw down $2.5 billion worth of XRP so that they can sell $2.8 billion worth. And then Q4, the final quarter of 2022, they threw down even more, $2.7 billion bought of XRP so that they could sell $2.9 billion worth of XRP, or nearly $3 billion in Q4 and Q3. And it brings the total. They threw down $8 billion cash buying XRP in 2022, and they sold $9.2 billion worth of XRP in 2022, strictly going to their on-demand liquidity partners, folks. And so you can see the demand. You can see the growth. In 2021, we had $1 billion worth of XRP sold. In 2022, $9.2 billion worth of XRP. You guys can do the math on how much of a growth that is. That is absolutely massive. So, simply put, guys, basically in the last year, if you include Q4, in the last year, we have broke $10 billion worth of XRP sold to their on-demand liquidity partners. And then we can look, since 2019, we have $30 billion worth of settlement on RippleNet. And now we know in 2022, 60% of the transactions on RippleNet were going through on-demand liquidity XRP settlement. So the proof is in the pudding. It's right there. If we read the markets report, if you go back and listen to the Twitter space where Neil confirmed and described the growth of ODL like wildfire, right? And we continue to see that this is without the United States banks and financial institutions and many countries in the United States, in Europe that have not given us regulations yet. So we have France and Sweden opened up ODL corridors. That's massive. And so that means that we're going to continue to see other countries within the Eurozone, other banks and financial institutions within the Eurozone are about to flip the switch too. And now that we got Brazil fired up, and many other countries there in South America, Latin America firing up, flipping the switch with ODL, and then now we see Africa. So we've reached every single continent, every single 40 different payout networks. And when you see what Ripple's doing with their money, and we say, don't watch what they say, watch what they do, right? It's right there for us. They threw down $8 billion cash in the middle of a bear market, in the middle of a recession, while the rest of the space is whining and complaining, heading to the hills, taking the money and running because they're insolvent, they're about to go bust. What's Ripple doing? $8 billion cash. $8 billion cash on top of a $250 million NFT fund, on top of $100 million battling the SEC, on top of Brad bragging at Davos that they're still sitting on $1 billion cash, ready to pick over the carcass of FTX and the remnants of the space that's left standing. We'll pick over the carcass of it. And people are spreading FUD. People are confusing the facts. Facts over feelings. Market report over you whining and complaining. That's where I'm at. I don't got time to listen to these guys whine and complain and still be confused about how ODL works. It's pretty damn simple, right? And I'm actually going to go further from this data that I have here, and you guys can maybe even beat me to this if you want. If you go back and pull these numbers, and you can see how much XRP is basically entering into that on-demand liquidity pool. That liquidity pool that's being built out by Ripple with ODL, we can go back and now we can, see when we start to do these equations and try to figure out, valuation models for XRP, we have these numbers that we can work with. Neil said that basically $250 million worth of settlement was taking place every week. And that would be obviously $1 billion every month. And so that's, correlating there with the numbers that we just pulled there, right? We're seeing $2.7 billion spent by Ripple so that they could turn around and sell $2.9 billion worth. So we have a lot of on-demand liquidity the settlement that's ramping up, but we also have a lot of XRP that's being sold to them ramping up. Now, the XRP gatekeepers will still say that they're not holding it as a reserve. They're acquiring it so that they can use it for ODL, but that's simply not true because we now know that they got treasury flows, we have NFTs, and we have banking giants, the largest custodial bank like BNY Mellon, where the heir of the BNY Mellon fortune, these guys that have been running these companies, he acquired $50 million worth of XRP back in like 2016 before his untimely passing. As I showed you guys the R3 trials that were taking place with dozens of major banks back in 2016. So from there, we can figure this story out, right? Is that if you want to get on Ripple's program and you want to use their ODL, they're willing to sell you some, right? And they're mostly stuffing their XRP escrow back in their vaults, which tells me everything I need to know. They're stuffing it back into their escrow, back into their vaults, and then they're only selling it to their on-demand liquidity institutions. This is the only confirmation that I need. I am your host, Zach Rector. I really appreciate all of the love and support. If you want to support the channel, just remember that you can start by smashing that thumbs up for me, sharing this content far and wide, and everything else is at my website.